Hi, I'm Jeanette, and Hi, I'm Jeanette from, I said hi. 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 Welcome to Does This Work? I'm Jeanette from Rachael's culinary team, and I'm here to help you test out all those trendy recipes we see on the internet to find out if they really work. On today's episode, we're testing out mozzarella stick onion rings. Or as my mom would say, mozzarella stick onion rings. You're like, oh, she's so American, ricotta, mozzarella. I'm hopeful that this recipe is gonna work because I wanna eat it. This sounds so good. Cheesy goodness, all dipped in marinara sauce. How does that not sound so good? So fingers crossed for this one. I'm pretty hopeful. One of the red flags I'm already seeing though is it only calls for 3 slices of cheese. I'm not sure I've ever seen a recipe that calls for 3 slices of cheese. I'm not sure I've ever been interested in a recipe that calls for 3 slices of cheese. I bought a little extra, so don't worry about it, but we're gonna see how it goes. Who makes a recipe with 3 slices of cheese? Like, honestly. 3 slices of cheese. All right, first step for the mozzarella onion rings is to take 2 large white onions and to cut them into 1/2-inch slices. Make sure they're 1/2 inch. Right there. It's actually made more than I thought it was gonna make. Now the next step is to separate them into large rings and small rings. So we are gonna build these on this cookie sheet. The instructions say to take 1 large ring and put a smaller ring inside. The recipe says that it's gonna make 8, but now I kind of feel like it's gonna make a lot more than that. It's kind of fun though. I'm putting them on parchment. The recipe did not say to put them on parchment. I know from various experiences here at the show that if you are gonna freeze something, we're gonna pop these into the freezer for an hour. Once they're stuffed with cheese, stuff tends to get stuck to the metal, so I didn't want that to happen. I do wish I had a little bit more direction as to which rings to use. Maybe I'm gonna realize that I'm not using the right size or shape at some point. So I've got 4 sheet trays of onion rings, even though I was supposed to get 8. And I do have some extra, they're like onion ring hula hoops, if you will. If these don't work, these might be very important later. This is literally how much cheese the recipe called for. It was 3 slices of mozzarella. Cut mozzarella slices into 4 equal
sheet going on down
It's the recipe. My hairspray's in here too. Okay, so the next step of this recipe is to take 3 slices of mozzarella and cut them into 4 slices. So 1, 2, 3 makes 4. Slide it in between the onions. This looks a little big. I'm a little puzzled. That's like a lot higher than the onion ring, so I feel like, and it was, I'm gonna confirm, that's 1/2 inch. Here's another 4 equal pieces. And that's already 2 of my 3 slices. Okay, so all 3 of my slices are in 1 onion ring. It's a little tricky. Unless I just need to get like the perfect fitting rings. My garbage bowl of onion rings. Maybe I need to get a much bigger one and then maybe I'll need a little less cheese. I'm gonna interpret it that you're supposed to use ones that's maybe like 1 or 2 layers down from that onion, because you could see that fits much better. But how is 3 slices of cheese supposed to fill all of these rings? I don't see that. This portion of the recipe seems to have failed me a little bit. Personally, if I was going to be making these not on a recipe, I might cut the cheese 1 more time. Cut the cheese. I think that I would slice the cheese 1 more time, and then that might give me the thickness that I was looking for in between these rings. I've got 7 more slices of cheese. I'm not gonna say this isn't a tedious process to try and get the cheese to fit. This is like the Hunger Games and picking pieces of onions in here. Your onion ring rejects, your onion ring rejects. Sorry guys, I didn't think that. I'm talking to the onions, I'm sad for them. They're not living their onion ring destiny. Still not thrilled with how much the cheese is sticking out. I'm gonna make the judgment call here. We've already recognized that the recipe has failed me 1 time. We're gonna call it a 2 times fail here so far. I don't think cutting it 4 times is enough. So I'm gonna fold the cheese over 1 more time and I'm gonna stuff it in like that. And now I'm seeing it kind of wedge in there so that it looks like it's gonna stick both halves of the onion together. And then when I pop them in the freezer for an hour, hopefully that will harden and then be okay to bread. I'd say so far in this process, this is a little bit more time than I would regularly spend on making either mozzarella sticks or onion rings. Certainly longer than it would take to order them at a bar. So I started out with 3 slices of cheese. I had 7 slices of cheese. This is 4 slices of cheese. So that's 14 slices of cheese. Is that good cheese math? You know, when you're getting onion rings, I only eat onion rings at a pub, so I keep just being like, when you get onion rings at the pub, they're all different sizes. So I've got some really pretty big ones. And then I'm gonna make a few teeny tinies. All right, we'll stuff some cheese into there. These really better be delicious and worth all of this effort. Onion rings and mozzarella sticks, as much of a dream as that sounds, so far it's a nightmare. We'll see you in an hour. We'll see what these look like. I don't know if I feel like making this one better. I'm already annoyed. I'm like mad. Okay, so while those guys are getting their chill on, I'm gonna get some oil ready for frying and I'm gonna set up the breading station. 2 cups of flour, then 5 eggs. We also need 2 cups of breadcrumbs. Now the recipe does not call for seasoning, and we know how that makes me feel. So since we've already gone a bit awry, we've gone off the rails with this recipe a little bit because so many of the steps didn't work, I'm seasoning all of my layers. This is one of those techniques that you want to use. You're supposed to do wet ingredients with one hand, dry ingredients with the other hand, and then you drop it in with the dry hand. So on first appearance, we just took these out of the freezer. I am glad that I used the parchment because they're sticking a bit. I've taken an hour away from them. I'm a little less angry at them right now. And they look really good. They're holding together, they're frozen. I'm gonna work pretty quickly because I don't want the heat of my hands to heat these up and then mess anything up in the process. Dry hand into the flour, drop into the wet. Wet hand, flip it around. Get that all nice and eggy. Now the recipe calls for flour, egg, breadcrumb, egg, breadcrumb. That's a process that you do when you're trying to get extra crispy breading. So now with my dry hand, I'm going back into the egg, back into the breadcrumb, dry hand. All right, so I'm gonna leave that there. Let's spread a few more. I'm telling you, that freezing process was vital to this recipe. I think these would have been falling apart had I just done this right when I had stuffed them because they were all still very warm from my hands touching the cheese. How's my oil? We're at 350. We're there. First onion ring going in. Not as bad as I thought. Those look like they're doing well. The oil looks like it's holding its temperature. Let's continue breading. So these guys floated to the top and I'm seeing a little bit of cheese start to ooze, so I am going to take them out. That looks pretty good. That looks really good. We were saying it was very vital that they stay very cold because this last one's not hanging, yeah, it's falling apart. I'm not even gonna do it, not worth it. That was 6 mozzarella onion rings, and from this batch, I have 2 fails in just the breading process because they did not stay together. These 2 are going to the onion graveyard. In you go, see you later. Okay, I think these are good. They're floating to the top. They're very pretty, they're very brown. I'm seeing a little cheese come out the side, so I wanna take them out. Okay, so I grabbed some of the next batch, and I don't wanna keep them in my hands too long because I don't wanna make them warm. We're gonna bread them up real quick. These are our little guys. I'm excited to try those. They are very cute and colorful. The color is absolutely beautiful. They're glistening, cheesy. They look really good. This is just a lot of work. The last mozzarella stick onion ring. Holding together very nicely. I don't want to keep it in my hand too long. I'm scared. I don't want it to, I'm not scared. I just don't want it to break. Look at that. They're really beautiful. Okay, the last one's out. How many? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We ended up with 12 mozzarella stick onion rings. I am exhausted and I'm hungry. So I think it is just about time to rain down judgment. Okay, guys. I don't want to say okay, guys. Sorry. Okay, so we are back with one of my real life best friends and a friend who I tend to eat not so great with. I'm not gonna say junk food.
No,
but
that's fine. You can
I'll say
it.
junk food. we're big French fry aficionados. Onion rings, probably close second,
Oh
right?
yeah, definitely. If I wouldn't have known and been in the room since 10 a.m. as you've been making these, I would have been like, oh wow, look at what a beautiful, quick job you did, because these actually look really nice.
They look
these
beautiful.
look like really good onion rings.
But it's about 6 hours after we started. All of this is edited nicely. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna salt them a little bit. Along the way, I've added some seasoning because you know how we like things in the Rachael Ratio prep kitchen. And the recipe calls to serve it with some warm marinara sauce. And because we're us, I picked up a bottle of ranch. Couldn't hurt. You ready?
I'm ready.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay.
Nice and warm.
Let's see.
Ooh, I'm a little nervous. Here's paper towel.
Thank you. My first thought is it has a fairly nice crunch to it. I don't taste any cheese. I'm double dipping.
Oh no, we're double dipping. You're getting a nice glimpse into us.
I don't
now.
actually taste any of the cheese.
Really? All right, I gotta get in here too. I was gonna cut mine just so you could see what the inside is like.
Onion is nice and tender.
I think you're right. Where the heck did the cheese go?
I think I see it in there.
I mean, I see it. It oozed out right there. It definitely isn't enough cheese to taste like a mozzarella stick.
Not at all.
This is an onion ring, right? Mm-hmm. I'm double dipping. They're good.
Wait, can you bring the ranch over?
I hate when an onion ring does that.
Same. Oh god, I love mom.
But there goes yours. How many slices today? I don't remember how many slices of cheese I ended up using. I ended up using a lot of cheese, probably at least 3/4 of a slice on each one. Mm-hmm. Where the heck did it go?
Having watched you make them and knowing how much like A, effort went into it and B, cheese went into it,
You saw the cheese.
I would have expected not necessarily like, oh, this glorious cheese pull.
No, I was expecting glorious cheese pull. And instead of a cheese pull, I'm almost getting an onion pull. It's not enough cheese.
No.
So this method is just not
Incorrect.
destined to work. Dipping anything in ranch is like pretty delicious.
Bite right here, bite right here. I know that this was just in my mouth.
No, we're those kinds of friends.
Oh, well, now it's ruined.
Okay, so
Not
I
like-
got cheese in one bite of 14
It's
of these.
not. It's definitely not like, oh, this was a mozzarella stick. It was like, oh, I found some cheese. I'm bummed.
You're bummed.
Fair.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
still eating
I
all
know,
of it,
I know.
but-
We're not gonna see. That's the thing. Even a bad fried onion ring is a delicious fried onion ring, and I'm not gonna say they're bad, but I am gonna say I think it's kind of like a case of the internet being clickbaity. We kind of determined, I think probably within minute 2 of this video, that this did not work.
Could you imagine if you would have only used 3 slices of cheese like it called for?
I'm still so. Who writes a recipe with 3 slices of cheese?
There
I
would
still
have been-
don't- I don't understand. How many thoughts are you gonna get of me just shoving onions in my mouth? I gotta put some Parmesan in them, but that's me.
Oh,
I'm from Jersey.
Then maybe we'd actually taste some cheese.
I'm not fixing them. I'm tired. That's all I've got left. If you make any of these recipes, or if you find a recipe that you'd like for me to try out, make sure you post using the hashtag Jeanette. Does this work?